day, everybody. My name is William Hustle here, and I'm here with my partner, Big Pat, for our first podcast called Get It Out.
Yeah.
So, Big Pat, how you feeling, brother?
Feeling good, man. Feeling real good. This is a long time coming. We met several years ago, and I think right away we knew our energy levels, and didn't take long to get to know each of our stories, and just really a good thing as far as what we're trying to accomplish here, and just the message of whatever you have, whatever you're holding on to, whatever has happened, until you face that. That's going to continue to be a burden on you and your life, and hold you back from where you need to be.
So, it's actually been 2 years since we met, Big Pat, and the thing that how every day is never a bad day for you.
No, and if I may, just to capitalize on what you were saying before, when you said you have to know your value, one of the main things I think that we both connected on was we saw we were in a position that we weren't going to be able to, and they weren't going to be able to see us for our full potential, and therein we weren't going to be able to reach our full potential at that place. So I think one of the hardest things sometimes we do in this life is face change, and change is fearful. I mean, you can stay in a groove, a complacent groove your whole life, and just stay in a bad situation. You know, I came from a place of, addiction, and 4 years ago, I'm almost dead. So every day that I'm here now, it's a blessing, and even on my bad days, I'm better than I was 4 years ago. So there's there's never really a bad day, is what I'm saying.
But that's when you can bring yourself from that point to accepting and acknowledging that, like, I was at my worst wasn't drug addiction, but it was an addiction to drugs because I loved the money. So I continually risked my life with police running in my house,
right? Because
that money was worth it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't really see that as an addiction, but an addiction is addiction.
Sure.
It's something that has control of you. So, man,
I think that's absolutely right too. You find a lot now, and we live in this world where we have to have some type of instant gratification. You have to have the brand new car. You got to have that bigger house. You need a swimming pool. You got to take trips to Florida. Everything is so sensationalized to happiness being some material aspect or something bigger than ourselves, that I think we lose sight that real happiness and everything just lies within. I mean, it's truly just a state of mind. I don't believe it's anything more tangible than that, than just your perspective, because what you believe ultimately becomes your reality.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that, but I am the one. I believe that if you figure out how valuable your time is every day, and you are prepared and dedicated to put in a type of hustle that brings about a different type of living, and you deserve that big house and them new cars and more cars than you could drive.
Right.
I mean, it's like, that's what I hustle for.
I'm not saying that's not nice. I'm just saying that your happiness can lie in just that.
My happiness, yeah.
It's right here.
Oh, my happiness comes with.
But yeah, good things
God
can
wake
come.
me up. I know I could change me, my wife, our family lives by the position and the hustle that God allowed me to wake up to go after.
Yeah, this stuff isn't the primary. Your primary is your mindset, your peace of mind, what's inside. I mean, that's Will. That's who you are, and that's who I am as well. That anything that else is a byproduct, great. That's icing on the cake. That's great.
But coming from where we come from, it's like, come on, brother. Like, we're out here making six figures, and years ago we wasn't even promised to be here today. because of the decisions that we were making. Because I know what decisions I would make. I never blamed my environment or my society on any decision I made to go after the money that I went after out in the street.
Right.
So I knew the decisions that I was making.
Yeah.
How you feel like doing your addiction? Was it on something that you continually blame the addiction on? Or did you always,
Yeah.
like who Big Patty is today, take ownership of I mess up? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think my addiction really just stemmed more from lack of being able to deal with trauma. We all deal with certain things in life, and we all have this point where there's things that happen to us that just are out of our control. I think the biggest thing is some of those things become so much of a, they overshadow everything around us that, if you can't deal with it, you need to numb yourself so you don't have to deal with it,
Right.
because otherwise it's right there in your face. It's not going away. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So that was purely, once I dealt with my trauma and my suffering, I no longer felt the need that I needed to destroy myself anymore because that pain had been dealt with. Most often addiction stems from some type of pain that the person experienced at some time. You just don't go out and want to destroy yourself. It's
Right.
it's not an inherent trait, Everything in this life is patterns, and we get caught in cycles of bad patterns as well. I think that in my case, the inability to deal with stuff. And then when I finally did decide, like, I've had enough. I can't go one more day. I mean, at that point, I had to separate myself from everything that was my life. And I think that's the only way you can really change when you've dug yourself into this addiction and depression and everything else. The only way to really change is to not only face that, but it's like trying to clean yourself in a swamp. You know what I mean? You're not going to, even if you have a bar of soap, you're still in a swamp. You got to get out of that swamp. So if you want this, for anyone, I think in addiction, if you really want that change, you have to be able to walk out of that swamp. And believe it or not, sometimes that swamp becomes so comfortable to us that even though we know it's killing us, we can't imagine anywhere else to be but that swamp,
I know it's things to be like, look, when somebody don't listen, let them be. But I don't believe in that because I believe everyone wants to do better.
Yeah.
And just because we believe something, it doesn't mean that it's, it has to be right or true. It's what we believe. The things that work for me, it might not work for you.
Right.
But if I don't believe that everybody doesn't want to do better, they just choose not to do better. Because doing better, it requires a whole lot of work.
It does. I think you got to really love yourself to get your full potential in this life. If you're dealing with something, or if there's something that just keeps you from really loving you and wanting the best for you, then you could just be complacent.
We've learned that taking control of our mind is taking control of our life, and we can do and achieve anything we want to because we know there's things that need to be learned, taught to achieve these things.
Yeah.
And this is what those who make it to this level do, is we see those who were like us and be like, yo, you ain't got to be living like that.
Right. Let me save you 10 years, man. Let me save you 15 years right now, because I can tell you where that's going. Let me help you out. Because, most definitely. It's this is all just coming from love and just the perspective of, what you believe about yourself becomes the world you live in. What you see and and whatever you put out there, it definitely comes back to you. It's a real thing. It's a tangible thing.
Yes. come to this change, because change is easy, but it's hard.
Most definitely. I think one of the most profound things in the last July 7th, 2017, last time I had a drink, last time I had a line, last time, quit drugs and alcohol. But we have to experience pain so that we can really embrace happiness. I mean, it's just like the same thing with you. You have to experience death to really to know love and cherish it and really appreciate this life. So everything that you go through there's an inherent lesson. I mean, that's the main reason for our past and the things we remember is that the learning lessons. And a lot of times the reason that we carry these hurtful things from the past with us is that they're staying with us to teach us that lesson, and it just takes us a while to wake up and get that lesson.
But let's make sure the people understand, the difference in carrying with you, but bringing and being held down from those decisions in your past. Because a reminder, but a lot of us are still trapped within that.
Oh yeah.
Like we don't totally there's no standing on the line, man. You can't straddle the fence. You have to change, and better living comes from truly making that other step to the side of the street, no matter who you was.
Right.
And
even if you were whatever you thought of yourself before or whatever you've done, that doesn't define you. I mean, again, what ultimately defines you is, the decisions you make moving forward.
Today.
I mean, that's it. That's all you got. Everything in the past is imaginary, and anything that you're thinking about in the future, I mean, that may or may not, that's hypothetical. I mean, we don't even know if that'll come true, but right now is all you got. This is the only moment, this decision you're making now that makes a difference, that means anything.
No one's perfect. No, poverty it's not defined by.
It's colorblind.
And that's period. And that life can be changed, but it comes from knowing yourself. And in order to know yourself, you have to be able to truly be truthful about everything. If there's ugly things that you do from decisions you make in your life, like you're never gonna live a better life when you have that not right.
Yeah, you can't you can't be spiritually healthy and truly on the right level, vibrational level with yourself if you're doing things that are undermining, underhanded, just shady stuff. If you're still trying to do that and walk a tightrope, that it doesn't work that way. It's a full commitment.
Like sis, you get what you put out there. You can't put good and bad energy out there. And it's just that simple. And live a better life. We're not talking about just living life. We're talking about living a better life. Not just living a better life where your life is better in every aspect. Doesn't mean you don't have problems and issues like everyone else. Okay, those are everyday normal human things, but the life that you're living is better in every aspect. And that's what we're talking about. This is the change that we're talking about while we created Get It Out.
Right.
Because you got to get it out and accept that what you got out, you want to change.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the whole reason that you get it out, that you get your pain, that you get your suffering, that you get any trauma or just anything that's holding you back out is that you want to reach your full potential. I mean, we all have a purpose. We're given this gift. I mean, somebody had plans for this evening and didn't make it, and somebody will have plans for tomorrow morning and won't wake up. And the whole thing is that when we have this moment, when we have this, why not make it the best moment absolutely possible? And I mean, being optimistic and positive doesn't mean that every day is going to be good, but it does mean that better days are on the way.
And you know better days are on the way when you making a decision to make sure that the things you do and the decisions you make and everything you do and how you treat any and everybody, not just family and friends, co-workers, just any and everybody, then you know better days are on the way because you're doing things as good as you can of a person be toward any and everyone that, you know, may encounter. And that's the change we talking about. That's what make life so fantastic for me.
Man, I can't even, just to kind of segue off of that, when you're, just a brief little break off, every morning I start the day with a motivation, just to send something out there, just to let everybody know, you know, and it reaches some people, it doesn't reach others, but the main thing is I'm starting my day with positivity and love. But, you know, with that being said, when you're doing that stuff, the universe responds to you. The world, I mean,
Period.
that energy responds to you. And Will shows me love, and a business opportunity arose, and I'm over there, and I've joined him in that endeavor. And you know, that stuff doesn't happen unless you're sending out some good stuff, because people want you to share in that. And when you're doing good things and you're putting good things out there, people want you to share in their good things with them.
You can't wake up worried about this argument you had last night, or somebody that made you mad, or going to work and disliking. Like, if you waking up worried about those things, then you are already cheating yourself for the better life that you could be living. And if life isn't about that, then, you know, you are really one of the ones that we're trying to get this message across to.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I think there's so much divide that's put out there today in our social media, and just in the news in general. And I think there's so much focus on our differences sometimes that we need to be mindful. And I think it's a shame that not more of us are focused on our similarities and what we have in common and what we can do. You got to be the change that you want to see in this world. And not only that, you know, you got to pick each other up when you're down. I mean, and if that's contagious, what a beautiful world this would be, you know?
Yeah, it's the old sayings that we didn't pay attention to, that, you know, when the sun shines, you feel better. When it rains, you feel down. You know, life is better when you know, it doesn't mean things aren't going to happen to us in our life, but majority of our days are going to be focused on living a better life and doing the things we got to do to bring in more income, live a better life, live with a better spirit, and just make people more joyful around you. Like, when everyone is joyful around you, it's a better environment to get money. And when you keep that spirit, like, finances is the change of life, and your finance doesn't change without you understanding the joy of the opportunities that God are blessing you with, waking you up. You know, so, you know, we want to thank any and everyone who was listening here with us here on our first of our podcast.
Absolutely.
Get it out. You know, Big Pat.
Yeah, this was actually great. And the last thing I'd like to say is just, you know, I've been to a spot in my life where I didn't think I was going to make one more day, but all change is just one thought that becomes a belief that becomes a way of life. And I know that if I can change, anyone can. So, sending all the love in the world out, sending love and light, and thank you guys very much.
And remember, life is a hustle. Keep it on max.